This is total net worth in the United States by age bracket, by decade. An old story here. As you get older, as you get more experience in your workplace, your net worth increases. You get raises, you get better at your job, you buy property, you start a business, whatever it happens to be. But the real magic in the United States starts at age 50. Because at age 50, on average, that's when your single biggest expense, your youngest child, moves out and is someone else's problem. And the money that you save, because you're now an empty nester, you tend to use to pay down your second biggest expense, which is your homestead. And on average, by the time you're 55, that has been paid down. So the last decade before retirement, 55 to 65, you're the wealthiest you'll ever be, your income is the highest it will ever be, and your expenses are under control. The money that you generate as you're preparing for retirement in that decade, that is 70% of global private capital. That is literally where the money is, that's what drives the system. And normally this doesn't matter because the same number of people, the same proportion of the population turns 65 every year. There's more people age 64 below that and so on. That is until the world changed back in the 1950s. This is the demographic structure for the South Koreans. You've got children on the bottom, young adults, mature adults, retirees at the top, men on one side, women on the other. Mortality builds it into a pyramid. And back in the 50s, the Koreans were a nearly pre-industrial society. And when you're all living on the farms, kids are free labor, so you have as many of them as you can put up with plus one, because that's how you find out it's too many. Well, this is about the time the Americans changed the way the world worked. Before World War II, the world was imperial. We fought over access and minerals and markets. And if you didn't have a good military capacity, probably a product of your geography, you were probably a colony. But at the end of World War II, the Americans changed the rules of the game. We used our global navy to patrol the ocean so that anyone could go anywhere at any time and interface with any market and get any commodity and sell anywhere, if, in exchange, you sided with us against the Soviets in the Cold War. And countries like Korea started to take advantage of this system. And they started taking industrial and manufacturing jobs. And when they did that, they discovered very quickly that none of those jobs were on the farm. And when you move from the farm and into town, kids are no longer free labor. They are merely the sources of migraines. And adults aren't dumb. So 75 years on, the demographic structure of South Korea changed to this. Very different model. When you have a lot of people under age 40, it's all about the consuming, raising the kids, building the homes. But when the bulk of your population is 40 to 65, you're a productive worker, high tech, high value added, generate a lot of capital, pay a lot of taxes. And what's going on right now is the whole world has made this transition from different starting points at different speeds. But this was always the decade, not that we turn into this, but that we turn into what's next. Countries like Korea, it's not that they're running out of children. That happened 30 years ago. They are now on the verge of running out of working-aged adults. And that means the economic pattern of the future is one without consumption, workers, or investment. And we do not know what that looks like.